Welcome to Paranormal Gateway Paratalk. My name is Scott Wise, and I'm the host, and tonight's special guests are Amanda and Irene from Spooky Japan Podcast. With Irene, paranormal is 24/7. She helps the living find closure with the dead. She can speak and hear voices of the dead. There isn't a day that goes by that she doesn't feel spirits and sense passing of a person. She loves her work and continues to help people during residential. For Amanda, the paranormal started early. She grew up Baptist minister's daughter. They lived in church's house which had a lot of activity. She always been able to sense were spirits and could hear them. She studied different aspects of the paranormal. Irene lives in Tokyo. Amanda lives in Nagasaki. They started Spooky Japan podcast to educate not only all things paranormal Japan, but Japan life and culture as it is. Amanda actually started before to try to educate on TikTok about paranormal Japan. Paranormal is a very taboo thing in Japan, so it's created into also a safe place for anyone who can share the love for paranormal for whatever reason it is. It's funny because the Japanese culture has a lot of traditions to honor or respect the dead, but absolutely ignore and block off anything that is haunted. So without further ado, let's welcome Amanda and Irene to the show.
Good to be here.
Hi. Good to have you. I know you're just waking up, but
Yeah, it's 9 a.m. here. And I know I woke up Irene to tell her I sent her the link.
It's okay. Irene has full dressed in her cup.
She has coffee, she has her cat.
There you go.
And I got my soda. I'm ready.
There you go. Oh yeah. It's not, my wife and my son just bought like a new soda flavor for Coke. It's Oreo flavor. The cookie. I'll go try it later. But
I don't think it'll be here for a little while.
I've been hearing mixed reactions to that Oreo Coke.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'm gonna probably have it after the show.
You might actually like that, Irene, because people say it's like drinking an Oreo. And I know you love Oreos.
That's how it's good.
But I don't like Coca-Cola.
Oh, I do. So, what inspired you guys to explore paranormal topics in Japan or about Japan? I know you live over there, but I mean,
yeah, there's not much. So when I first moved to Japan, the first thing I wanted to do was get involved in the paranormal community, and I was so excited. I'm like, I'm gonna get to Japan. I'm gonna get into the paranormal community. I'm gonna go and book and investigate these haunted places. And then I realized that there is not a paranormal community here in Japan. Finally, I found Irene, and she confirmed, yep, it's just me who's publicly out there about being into the paranormal. Which kind of it made me sad because it's definitely not like the States where I was booking investigations and able to do investigations. This is not like that here. You can do like public parks, but that's basically it. Which is not. I don't like doing public places where anyone can just walk because it puts too much. There's too many factors into if I get evidence or not. You really can't tell if random people are just walking by.
Yeah, it's contamination. It sucks sometimes. So yeah, that could be
we didn't really find anything else paranormal wise here in Japan. There isn't any like other. We tried searching for other podcasts or anything else about anything in Japan paranormal related. We didn't really find it, so we're like, you know what? Why don't we just do it? Why don't we just try and educate people on things spooky here in Japan? Just because it's like there's so many haunted places with it being as old as it is. There's also, I would say, thousands of cryptids, but we also don't have a lot of information on them because we don't have like Bigfoot researchers or anything like that here. And anytime we talk to any, we encourage them, please come to Japan. There's You're going to be competing with no one. No one is going to get in your way. Any information you find out is going to be new and groundbreaking because no one else wants to do it here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, Tiff said about not having any experiences, but do you know anybody who ever had experiences? No.
At least not public. It's not something you publicly admit to here.
Well, yeah. You said about that in
Because
the
like
intro.
we might have had you might know people who's had experiences, but they're not going to publicly admit to it. It's one of those things that they're going to take to their graves, just
Mhm.
because it's not something that's looked kindly on if you admit you had a paranormal experience. I mean, Irene can also tell you there's been pilots fired, Japanese pilots fired from their job here due to the fact is they claim they saw a UFO.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
First they get reprimanded and they get desk job, and if they hate it so much, they say bye, I'm leaving. So yeah, it's really sad.
So, how do you think the Japan paranormal beliefs differ from over here? You think? She giggled.
Because Amanda will tell you, um, this is my space. This is your space. You walk here, I walk here. We're fine. That's
That's
how they
how it
deal
is.
with it.
I've seen so many shadow figures just staring
Hmm.
at me, and a lot of people are just like, "How come you don't try and talk to it or take a photo?" And it's told me, "I don't want you to." And I'm like, "I'm
Hmm.
not going to push that boundary and see what happens."
Yeah.
And it is one of those things where it's funny because like you'll see me walking, and I kind of have to do like zigzag because like, all right, this little area belongs to this shadow figure. That area up there belongs to that shadow figure, and they're one of those things where I don't know why they just kind of claim a little area, and they're like, if you have to walk by here, stay on the other side of the road,
Hmm.
and we'll
Yeah.
call it good. And I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I'll
So,
just
so
Yeah.
keep,
I
keep your
won't bother you.
distance.
You won't bother me. I won't bother you. And
yeah. And that's why I'm
we're
like,
cool.
yeah, I don't. It tells me it doesn't want me to talk to it or take photos. I'm not gonna push that boundary.
Nope.
I'm
Right.
just gonna. I'm
And
like, you do you, man. I'll just leave you alone. You want me to leave you alone? I'll leave you alone.
yeah.
Yeah. Through that, I've been investigating for like 20, 25 years now. I'm
Hmm.
showing my age, by the way. Um, but I've had certain places that we investigated that we had like negative spirits sometimes, and but more than likely we always got along with whoever was there because we just you could tell when you walk in sometimes the atmosphere how it feels. If it's like stuffy or something, it's like well we take precautions and do certain things.
Hmm.
But I had places that I whispered in my ear and that I actually picked up on audio.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, we went to a lot of places, and like I said, I think I have somebody here with me. But she hasn't bothered me that much. I can tell she's here. But
Mm.
I she sometimes she does something, but I
Mm.
don't bother you at all. We always say when we do the investigation and say you can't come home with us. No, that's what we say if we leave. Gotta stay
Mm.
here. Can't come with me.
Yeah.
So, which regions over there are those haunted? Is like are there certain regions that are
It.
more haunted?
I don't even. Supposedly, Okinawa is supposed to be the most haunted place in Japan.
Hmm. Hmm.
However, one thing me and Irene realized is different parts of the island of Japan have like
Hmm.
their own kind of like different paranormal things going on. Me down here, I live in Nagasaki, so I have to the right of me, I have the Nagasaki bombing area. To the north of me, I have the Hiroshima one, and I realize I also have a lot of the more ghosts who died in a tragic situation compared to Irene in Tokyo, who she has more of the suicidal ones.
Hmm.
And then the north has their own weird thing going on with their spirits and cryptids and stuff. I down
Yeah.
here also have more cryptids than Irene, but I think the north also has more cryptids for some odd reason than I do.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know if it's
just
equal or at least there's a lot of them in the north too.
it's a mishmash of everything.
Yeah.
What was the one you said? Kistakiana, is who said?
Hmm?
This,
Well,
the slit mouth woman?
Mm.
oh yeah, she's definitely one of our urban legends here in Japan.
Yeah, I was bringing up some stuff today about other.
Supposedly, supposedly, if you do see her, you're supposed to answer, "I don't have an opinion" or "I don't know."
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that supposedly,
Yeah.
because if you
We
answer,
have
I mean, yeah,
we have another one that it's called Yukiona, who's in the forest. She asked skinny guy to come over and said, "How do you think I'm beautiful? If you say no, you're dead. If you say yes, maybe you're dead. So forget it." It's a guy that usually gets into trouble. Women hardly get into trouble, but men do. Like they like men because men usually kill. Men used to kill women long time
I was
ago.
gonna say
So
it depends on the
yeah.
urban legend. Some of them prefer children and women just because they said we're easier targets than men.
Mm, yeah.
So it just
Like
depends on the
that,
urban.
that's not that's not true today though.
We've had we have our own Slender Man here,
Yeah.
but it's supposed to be. It's not a man. It's an 8 foot woman.
Mm, yeah.
You can hear the sound. She makes a sound, a weird like clicking sound first,
Yeah.
and then obviously you'll see like an 8 foot woman wearing a hat or something. But she targets children, and unfortunately, if she tends to take a liking to one child,
Mm-hmm.
she will bother that person for the rest of their life. So it's basically one of those.
Mm,
Someone said they actually had to get out of Japan, and they couldn't
mm-hmm.
come back to Japan
Mm-hmm.
because she targeted him.
Yeah.
You said earlier about not accepting the paranormal in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like I say that there is Buddhism and Shintoism?
Mm.
Buddhism and Shintoism, yeah. Irene
Yeah.
practices. You practice a little bit of both, don't you, Irene?
I practice mostly Shintoism.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I thought there. I thought I'd ask you. I figured I'd even be one or the other, or both.
Well, she
It's
was raised Catholic, and then
Yeah.
but the church doesn't really look kindly onto people who have gifts in the paranormal or into the
mhm.
paranormal.
Right. Uh, but it's a shame though, because I know sometimes that we do investigations, we're fortunate enough to find clergy to go to some houses when needed, but it took some calls and stuff. And when it's out of our hands, we tell them, there's something going on here we can't do for you. So,
Mm.
we have saved before, but we didn't do that upon request. And we just going to start saving. If the client wants it, we'll do it, and we'll say there's no guaranteed
Mm-mm.
outcome. It might not
Mm.
be what you want to
Mm.
happen, and sometimes they say it couldn't make it worse. I don't even know we never had we had callbacks saying everything's better than if had or later in the areas because we did an investigation in Maryland
Mhm.
um, of a family. They had two kids, and I think that it was the woman that separated from her husband.
Mm.
So her 2 kids, just and they were trying to be in paranormal. They get the say recording. So I don't suggest doing that in your own house. I never did.
I
I don't think
hate
that's a
it.
good idea.
I hate it when paranormal investigators are going to a case at someone's house
Mm-hmm.
and they're advertising that they're going live at this location.
Oh
I'm like,
no, I know. We ne- oh
that's
God, we
it
never
feels
did that.
disrespectful. And a lot of people are like, well, they said I could, and I'm like, you should. If they're okay with filming, you don't go live, but you should. Like, you can post it later. But
Mm-hmm.
I would not be okay with people going live at
Mm,
my house just
No,
because of the fact is, what if something personal? What if they say something personal? What if spirits say something personal? What if something
Mm-hmm.
personal in my life comes up and I'm like, I don't want that out there. But now that
No.
it's live, it's now out there for
Yeah.
everyone to know. And I'm
uh,
like, yeah, I don't just record it and then you can
Yeah.
edit it and take out anything that the person doesn't want out there, and then you can post it.
all right.
Yeah.
But
I,
this location was think of a girl talking, whatever, couldn't make out what she said. But they said it's just sounded like she was crying and stuff, and like listen to it, sounded like she was crying. I'm like, maybe if you want us to stage, we can probably do that. And they said, okay. So we did saw around the windows and the saging,
mm-hmm.
and we picked up on the recorder a little girl's voice saying, I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm crossing over, mother.
Mm-hmm.
On and so we after that they said she didn't tell any problems anymore, and she was gone. So she crossed over, I guess. So I don't usually like to give them that, but if it's requested. Now I have been investigating. I was born and raised in New York, PA, but I moved out to Ohio 8 years ago. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still located now in Ohio. But I don't get much anymore. I would walk around, get around. I get to like 2 or 3 a year around here. Um, but yeah, I miss it a lot, and I try to get more people in the group to go out and why they could go out in the cemeteries and look at the gravestones and stuff. I think it's fascinating. Some of the lower stones. Uh, yeah. So I think you're talking about the what the I'm horrible at pronouncing this. I got hair forest.
Mm-hmm. I was
Uh,
supposed to go
it's,
this month, but I couldn't go due to my friends who went someplace else. So I might go next month. I might go next year or the year after, depending on
Probably
how
next
my
year, because I
schedule
think
works
we're
out.
gonna be heading to Tokyo at least by next summer. So we'll definitely have
Oh,
to.
is that that's not the one that is suicide forest, is it?
It,
mm-hmm.
yeah, it's right. So that's forest is right at the bottom of Mount Fuji.
Mm-hmm.
Mount
Oh,
Fuji
all right.
alone. Around Mount Fuji, they call it the fire belt, just because usually when there is an earthquake in Japan, around Mount Fuji is the epicenter of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But it has its own paranormal things going on itself there. It's made skeptics into believers. Even if people aren't visiting Mount Fuji directly, people who's had like a hotel view of Mount Fuji has had some kind of ghost story. But it definitely it's a magnet or something to its
Mm-hmm.
own paranormal stuff. They think Godzilla once existed here in Japan.
Godzilla.
Yeah,
Oh
Godzilla.
yeah.
They think it existed once here in Japan, and they think he disappeared into Mount Fuji area.
All right.
But the thing that's interesting with the suicide forest is because I obviously get a lot of the videos out here in Japan, and a lot of the locals will tell you not the whole entire forest feels bad. Yes, obviously there's a part of it where people go and they end their lives there, and Irene can tell you that for some odd reason that part of the forest you don't really see bugs, you don't see any animals, you don't hear any birds chirping.
Ugh.
trees,
No.
scientists don't even know why, but some trees won't grow straight up. They kind of go in a weird zigzag, turny, kind of
Oh,
whatever they want
I
to
think
do.
I think I saw that already because they had like strips in it might have been a cemetery too. They had a picket fence, and on a picket fence they had these weird trees growing all together.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Like I can't really describe it. It's just all over in different
Yeah,
angles,
yeah,
going
yeah,
circles.
yeah.
They start going straight up, and even scientists like I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another part of that forest where the locals will hike almost daily because they say it's the exact opposite forest.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most serene place, most tranquil place they've ever hiked. It's beautiful there. It's just peaceful there. And they know, they even showed in a video, you get to this T, the locals know you want to turn right because that keeps you in a peaceful part of the forest. You walk to the left and you're heading into a not so good area of the forest. So
Yeah.
it's like the yin and yang basically in that forest. If some of it's bad, they don't want to go, they avoid. Other parts of it, not so bad.
But
Hmm.
once you go into the forest, you don't come out.
The bad
Yeah.
part, yeah.
Yeah.
If there's if
It's
there's that there's yeah, there is that obviously that urban legend to it where even if you because some people tie strings and make their own pathway, and that's also what people warn you. They don't if you see a string pathway, don't follow it because it's probably gonna lead you to a body. And the
yeah.
people do that and they think the people do that in hopes to I'm gonna change my mind and come out. And they say something
Mhm.
happened to that forest where that's not the case. And I've known someone who went to the forest. He visited Japan. He made his friends drive a few hours to go visit this forest. They're walking in, and he said he doesn't have any gifts to the supernatural. He's not sensitive at all. He said, as soon as I stepped into that forest, I heard this slight humming noise. No
Mhm.
one else heard it, so I didn't think anything of it. 20 minutes into walking in, it kept getting louder and louder and louder to the point where it was so loud in his head. He's like, I can't do this. We got to go now. And even the friends are like, you're the one who wanted to drive hours to do this. What do you mean? He's like, no, we have to go because it was so loud in his head. And then
Right.
after he left, done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhere here called the our country too. That sometimes they pick up like often they have the what that ranch out here, Paranormal one. They hear that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It
So
affects more people than others, or some than others, and less than others.
It
Depends on how
probably
sensitive.
starts probably in groups of people. It goes after who's ever.
Yeah. The
I don't want.
weakest one of the group. Yeah.
Yeah, we just want a group or not emotionally who's ever emotionally not okay at the time. I don't actually know. There's no really rhyme or reason into.
No.
I don't know. I extremely susceptible to EMF, so that can really give me a pounding headache too. So, and
I get
yeah,
I get the
yeah,
headache. I get the headache too. When
yeah,
something comes around, you know it's around because you get this. It's right
yeah,
here, and you can feel like go, oh, there's something coming right.
yeah. Like the top of my head down to here.
Yeah, yeah, and you can really feel it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
and it kills to you. Sometimes you have to say, "Stop doing that," and then it quits. It depends on.
it's kind of like a stubborn phrase. Get the
Yeah,
headache. Ah.
here you go. Here it comes. I can feel it right there.
I thought be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of an empath too. That I learned over the years. As I went out to different places too, I became more in tune with my surroundings. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the more I go out, I can tell when I go into a place what kind of night it's going to be. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I can be a pain in the ass. Because one time I went to investigation in this old trailer park, and the old trailers out there living in mobile home. I
Mm-hmm.
walked in, I turned around, I walked back out, and I got sick. I'm like, what is going on there? So I would go back in. Here, they had electrical box, where they have fuses and stuff. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that EMF for that was 5 times more supposed to be coming off that. And they were saying they have hallucinations and stuff. That's why.
Mm.
There's some amount of times we debunk stuff like that, and they're like, no, there was something here, something here. Well, they got it fixed and they're finding it. So you
Mm.
gotta look everywhere before you start saying, oh, the face on there, there's the evil spirit here, oh, there's demons. But there are the demons, the evil spirit like us, but I never took that the conclusion right away. That's the
Yeah.
last thing I think of because there's definitely bad spirits because I had them come to that for it already. So,
Yeah. Don't you just love it when people say, "I got a demon in my house," right?
I know. Yeah, I think a demon's in your head.
And it's not
Everybody's
that.
got everybody's got their demons, right?
Well, it's because I guess the Christianity teaches that everything is a demon in disguise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it really kicked off when that one group started their paranormal on TV. And ever since then, I've seen demon this, demon that, and so I never just say a name or not. You might know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you know him.
I think I
But
do.
I'm like, not everything is, but and I kind of wish, and
yeah,
there's one thing I wish Christianity would not teach, just because it
yeah,
puts unnecessary fear into people.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
you're now freaking out more over something because you were taught everything's a demon. So
All right. And I even started back before the ghost hunters were on doing that investigating stuff. So it's been that long, but I started watching it. I'm so sorry. When it first started off, it was okay, but then after a while, it seems when we start playing this music loud, they can't hear talking and stuff like watch it. I never stopped watching them,
Mm.
but there are some shows I still watch. But I don't much anymore.
The old ones are good, but the new ones are kind of like, oh well, okay.
Yeah, yeah, they're too theatrical. That's what the problem is.
I
Yeah.
hate the fact that that's what people assume happens at
Mm.
paranormal investigations. I'm like, it's
Mm.
not. They're usually not that interesting. I don't want to say interesting, but you know what I mean. They're usually not that. It's a lot to sit around and wait, and a lot of people new to investigations don't realize that because I used
Mm.
to do a lot of those public events where I have mixed emotions about them as someone who was already investigating, had some experience to people who go in there and everyone else was new. It's like it's good for new people to go in there and see if they like it. However, for someone experienced, it sucked for me because most of them ended early just because their whole thing with they thought it was going to be like TV, and then once they do the tour and they realize it's not, they don't want to stick around. So for then also the people who run it are like, well, everyone else wants to leave, so I guess we have to call it a night. I mean, there was one I did where it was literally we did the tour of the place, started the investigation, and then 45 minutes later they're like, yeah, well, I guess we're gonna have to pack up and call it a night because everyone else is done. They didn't realize there's a lot of sitting around in the dark and waiting for something to happen. It's like
Yep.
it is what it is though. That's why it's not
I,
for everyone.
we first talked a couple of years. We were approached by Discovery Channel to do a
Mhm.
show with them. To actually do a show with them, like a series type thing.
Mhm.
And we got all the fine print and stuff. And we're like, well, we'll think about it. But we said, well, we're going to let you know that we don't ever stop our shit. Okay, well, it's just saying, oh, this happened, and what some notice that didn't happen, or we want to go in And if we go to investigation in the place and nothing happens, then nothing happens. We still want to do the show and
Mm-hmm.
broadcast it. Now they get back to us. They want to do that.
Mm.
So we thought it would go that route, but we had a chance to, but we decided not to. It's a shame because we enjoyed doing it. And another
Yeah.
thing you don't realize about it is how long it takes to set up before I do an investigation. If you run the wires and stuff, it could take up to 2 hours to set up.
Mm.
So that's 2 hours in time. Then, but we usually investigate 6 to 8 hours sometimes in certain places. The least amount we did was like 4 hours usually. But yeah, we got very fortunate the help we got over the years though.
Mm.
But yeah, go to for visit castles or shrines.
Mm-hmm.
Shrines, yeah. So we have a lot of, we have both a lot of castles and shrines here.
Yeah. Shrines are sometimes haunted. Depends. You can go during the daytime. You can go. You really shouldn't go during the nighttime. You always stay to the right of you because the spirits can walk to the left. You always keep the left open. You oh no, the right open, and you walk to the left. So making sure the spirits can walk in and out. Um, you have to be extremely respectful. It depends on how you go to the shrine, what you pray for. Depends on being respectful and how you be respectful and what you do. And you always make sure that you go to shrine to get rid of bad juju. Um, you go to shrine to cleanse yourself. It's very important that you do that once a year. I have to do it half a year every time because I deal with a lot of spirits. So I have to really cleanse myself every half a year. Every 6 months I have to do it. It's just something that I have to do because I deal with a lot of negative spirits and I deal with a lot of with um spirits that haven't crossed over and things like that. So I have to be very careful and I have to make sure that I have nothing left over or something that could bother me in the future. So it depends on how much you paranormal you do, of how much you cleanse yourself. And me, I have to do it quite often. Let's put it that way.
Some
So
shrines are built. Some shrines are built in Japan to appease the spirit, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have demonologists here. We don't have anyone here that if you wanted a cleansing, there's no one for you to call that could come out and do it physically.
No.
Their whole approach to the paranormal is basically we're going to build a shrine and hope that appeases it enough to leave us alone.
Mm-hmm.
There is one in Tokyo that was built that back in the day. So there's an urban legend way back when about a flying head in Japan. Basically, he was a samurai warrior, and he was going to take over. He wanted to take down the emperor,
Mm-hmm.
but he obviously was not successful, and they beheaded him. So Kyoto at the time, I believe, was the capital.
Mm-hmm.
So they took his head and they put it on a stick in Kyoto for the world to see, to basically be like, this is your warning. This is why you don't go against your emperor.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, and all of a sudden they say they saw the head. Somehow the head got back in Tokyo, and they couldn't explain it. Well, a lot of people claimed they saw the head flying in the air back to Tokyo. So that became the urban legend of the flying head of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Went back around to the site. So they built a shrine to him, and his head is buried in there to kind of be like, I hope this appeases you enough. Please don't harm us anymore. Nowadays, with it being somewhere in Tokyo, it's in prime real estate location. So they tried to take down the shrine. Probably, I don't know if they're going to move it somewhere else or what the plan was. They're taking it down, And everyone involved in that project had a lot of misfortune. Even people, even office buildings around it, people are complaining they're getting sick. So they assumed it must have been angering that spirit. So they rebuilt the shrine. They rebuilt the shrine, and it's basically it's gonna stay there for that reason. As they're like, if we take the shrine down, the spirit's no longer going to be happy, and he's gonna cause havoc. So we'll just keep that shrine, and we'll leave him alone. There is also around in that shrine, there is frog statues, and that's because frog in Japanese is also similar to the word return in Japanese. So they're like, please return back to your spirit world.
Yeah.
Wow.
My shrine where I go to is extremely haunted, the area, because there's been so many battles. The samurai warriors used to fight along the shore. My shrine is this side is the ocean, this side's the mountains. So they used to fight along the ocean, and just recently they found a whole bunch of skulls and a whole bunch of skeletal remains in the sand near the ocean. So and it's extremely haunted too. So yeah, I've been visited by a couple of them in my hotel room, so I'm used to that one. It's just they come at 2 o'clock in the morning. They say hi. I go, what? What do you want?
Wait until a
I'm
better time.
sleeping. I'm sleeping. Okay. They say, well, I just
Come
want to
back
say
during
hi.
regular business hours.
I'm like, gee whiz, I just next morning I feel like I've been hit by a bus because I haven't had any sleep. Like, please just leave me alone. Let me sleep. It's oh, and it was a guy who was killed by a samurai warrior. His name was Robert. I go, oh yeah, yeah, bye. They go, okay, bye. Like,
I,
Lance
I'm,
wakes up. He goes, what happened? I go, never mind. I'm going back to bed again.
I,
Like,
I'm not, I'm not sure if it's Japan, but there was clay soldiers they found. Was that Japan?
no, that's China.
China, okay. I wasn't sure. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
No,
So,
it's just nothing new. It depends on which area you go to in Japan. That can be really haunted. It depends on which hotel you go to. That can be really haunted. Um, you might get a visitor in the middle of the night. Um, it's just like. Especially if you're sensitive and it bothers, and you can wake up in the middle of the night and you go, like, do you mind? I need some sleep, okay? I have a full day tomorrow. Like, please don't bother me. And he said, well, I
uh,
just wanted to say hi. Like, I go, yeah, hi, bye. So, yeah, it's just really crazy.
yeah. Don't let that hotel door hit your ass on the way out.
They can't be like that because then they'll come back and they'll get really mad at you for saying that. And you don't want
And
that. You
they,
don't want that.
yeah,
Believe me, you
yeah,
don't want that.
they, would that be Onryo? Visual Spirit? Is that how you pronounce it? Onryo? 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 A
An-
Vengeful Spirit?
Anyo?
Anyo, sorry.
Mm,
Yeah, I have it down here. I've heard pronunciation, so
mm.
We have so many Japanese spirits.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
hard to keep track of them.
Well,
Yeah,
they
people
keep
ask us
busy.
about urban legends all the time, and they're
Hmm.
surprised we don't know of one. I'm like, well, to be fair, we also have like 1,000 of them. So
Yeah,
there's even if no matter how much research we do into urban legends, there's probably always going to be one that we're not familiar with due to how many. And
like
that's always what I say. It's funny is they have over here they have some of the most urban legends, but they are very anti-paranormal.
yeah.
So, how do you think Japanese media, like anime, manga and movies shaped the global perception of Japanese paranormal themes.
Hmm. Children learn to watch paranormal when they're young. They're aware of it when they're young because they kind of like get introduced to it at a very young age through manga, through cartoons on the TV. Um, they're very used to it at a very young age because it's part of their history or life. Um, and they're aware of it. In, they're encouraged to watch it to understand it, but they're not encouraged to learn more than that. Just to be aware that it's there, it exists, and
The problem is, though, what people have said is because I've asked someone else why are people not into paranormal here, especially it's getting less and less of a thing here. Like the older generation will believe in it more than the younger generation.
mhm,
And they say it's because they believe all those stories passed down are made for punishments. And it's basically because there's also a lot of urban legends where if you don't deep clean your house, this cryptid's going to come into your house, wreak havoc.
mhm,
And they're also, unfortunately, what's also not helping that situation is when I watch the videos of the paranormal that they're getting over here, it's those ones that are obviously very faked.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
they're just to them, it's just like so they've seen so much. And someone else even said that they've seen more videos faked. So they're just like, why should I believe it when that's all we're seeing is faked videos?
Yeah.
That's a good point. If that's what you're mostly getting, I can see why you're not going to believe in anything real because unfortunately that's what you're seeing.
Mhm.
um, what
Irene,
of
Irene, you know what he was referring to as the onryo.
Mm,
You might not have known what it's called. It's onryos are often you've dealt with these before. They're
mhm.
often depicted as wronged women, women who are traumatized, envied, disappointed, bitter, or just furious by what happened during their life and exact
Mhm.
revenge and death. These kind of ghosts appear extremely vengeful, ruthless, heartless, brutal, cruel, deranged, egotistical, selfish, bloodthirsty, and cold-hearted. So you probably know some of them. You just didn't probably know the name of the spirit.
Oh, okay.
So
I
it's
get
basically
that
women
now.
who are wronged who just in their spirit wants to come back for revenge.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of those around.
Yeah, there's a lot of those around. There's a
A
lot
lot
of
of.
places where men can't walk with women for that reason.
Mhm. And a long time ago, it was unheard of getting divorced. It was unheard of paying alimony. So you were either killed, thrown in the ocean, or thrown in the well, or or thrown on train tracks to get rid of you so that you can remarry again. That's why that happened. And it's really sad because,
thank
yeah.
God there's a divorce now.
Yeah. Didn't forget about paying alimony too, because there's no
Yeah,
such thing as
uh,
that either, right?
uh,
Long time ago, that's what they did. That's why there's so many that's why you see a lot of spirits are mostly women because they're scorned women. And yeah, you don't want to have one of those in your house.
uh,
There's a lot of them. Yeah, I remember Irene telling stories about some urban legends, some of them. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, you know the urban legends, she just probably didn't know the actual name of it.
Mm,
Due to the fact we have so many different names for spirits. It's
yeah.
hard to keep up.
I last year I did a show on urban legends. I had a bunch of them from over here, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. So, are, are there any Japanese movies, this TV shows that you recommend?
Is there any?
lots of them.
Yeah,
The movies,
which
Yeah.
mangas do you recommend, Irene, to learn?
Death Note. Uh,
That's so good. I saw that.
There's so many of them, right? Inuyasha is another one. There's just so many different. Gay Kitaro is another one. Um, there's just so many of them out there, and they all deal with paranormal. They all deal with removing bad spirits or getting rid of attachments. That's what they deal with a lot, and helping the living deal with the dead. Uh, there's so much more of them out there. Like there's a list about this long. It depends on
Okay.
what you watch, but don't watch certain. If there's a video of a haunted place in Japan, just be careful. Um, People say, "Yeah, I want to see that video," and they said, "I'm not going to send it to you." And they go, "Why?" Because it's uncleansed. It's not been blessed, or it's not being cleansed properly. If it is being cleansed, you can watch it. If it's not cleansed, the spirit can come out and attack you, or come out and kill you. Depends on how you look at it, right? So I don't recommend watching certain haunted videos on YouTube because they're raw, and some of them can be bad. There's the number 18. It's called that you don't watch. My son told me not to watch it. I said, okay, I won't watch it. Because he said you could be alive tomorrow and dead. You're alive today and dead tomorrow. So it's very, it's not superstitious. It's just, it's a bad video, okay? And certain paranormal things you don't watch, and certain paranormal places you don't go. Like, it's like sticking your finger in the light socket. You don't do that, right?
It doesn't matter
um,
where you are in the world. A
Yeah,
Japanese spirit can visit. I've had American spirits visit me, so here in Japan. So it's not one of those things where people are like, "Oh, it's in Japan." It can still. I mean, it's a spirit world. They don't have to book a flight to come see you. Okay, they can
yeah,
just appear. Because I've had
yeah,
that happen, or I've had spirits from America just appear here. So don't think
yeah,
just because it's a Japanese spirit, it can't come visit you if it didn't want to.
yeah. It it can it can be dangerous. So you pick and choose your battles. You pick and choose where you want to go to. Like I pick and choose where I want to go to, and there's some places where I definitely don't want to go to, and there's some places that you don't go after 9 o'clock either because yeah, it's after World War II. The soldiers went on this beach. They made it into a park, and guess what? Yeah, it's haunted, and you don't go there after 9 o'clock. If you do, they won't find you, or they won't find any remains of you either, because they'll take that away from you. They'll take that away also. So you have to be very careful about where you go to, especially at nighttime.
how do you think paranormal evolved in Japan over the past few decades? Has much changed?
How do you get rid of them if that happens?
Yeah, yeah.
I call my son.
Well, I mean, for anyone else though who watched, let's say someone over there in the States watched a video, it was one of those haunted Japanese videos, and all of a sudden they have a haunted Japanese spirit in their house.
Mm.
Well, that's so good. So, what kind of cleansing do you do usually for that?
Mm.
Mm. You chant Buddhist prayer. Um, you light incense, and you make them go away. You have to make them go away. It's not that you don't give them a choice.
You can also try your own cleansing too. Like it doesn't have to be the Buddhist one. It could be how you would cleanse a house.
Hmm.
It's more the intent behind it. Because a lot of people even say, even people who are not Christian, some people has cleansed their house and be like, I don't know your way, I can only do it mine. You told me to do it. And if you
Mm-hmm.
believe it's gonna work, if the owners of the property believe it's gonna work,
Yeah.
then it'll have more effect. If I'm doing it and the owners of the house are just thinking, I'm just gonna let this person do it, just to let them do it, but I don't think it's gonna work. Obviously, it's not gonna work.
No. And it's your house. You have to tell them to leave. It's not my house. I'm not going to do it. So you have to say it. You have to tell them to leave. And there's some spirits that you really have to forcefully remove, because no matter how much you say, please go, and they said, no, I'm not going to go. And they said, yes, you will. I'm going to make you go. So I make you go. It depends on what country you live in. Here, it's more of a Buddhist effect. So Saint Christian spells don't usually work. So you have to say Buddhist prayers to get rid of them. Um, tried using sage, it didn't work either. So yeah, stuff like that depends on where you are using the different methods that you live with. Go with the flow with the country
Right. I
and do it
know
that way.
with this residential cases, and we tell clients that, I mean, you tell them to leave, they have no right being there. And
Yeah,
then we also would do on some places opening and closing prayers.
yeah, I do that too.
You
Um,
gotta make sure the person trusts what you're doing, because it
yeah,
doesn't matter how successful you were in the past. If the person you're trying to cleanse does not believe it, it's not gonna work.
yeah, no, you have to believe it works, or you have to understand that if you don't believe it, it's not going to work, or you have to at least acknowledge that you understand that there are spirits there that have to go, and you have to really talk to your client and include them what you need, what you want for them, what you need from them, what your intent for them, and please accept it, and please believe that
Yeah.
it'll work so I can do my job.
I think sometimes that'd be a little stern, depending on situation. And we never ever provoke ever, but
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
we never ever did. We just stay away from Ouija boards. That's some people may comfortable using Ouija boards. We never use them.
Mm-mm.
I don't know how I feel about Ouija boards. Everyone says this, it depends on your intent behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard stories and people have live streamed where they're using one in a graveyard, absolutely nothing happened, but there's obviously a lot of horror stories behind a lot of them too, where I knew someone who they found their grandma dead over a Ouija board.
Mm.
So it's one of those things where I don't know. I don't know. I've never messed with one myself.
No, I don't do it either. Um, it depends, on the person who's using it, how, I don't know, how informed they are, how well they know how to use it, if they know how to, when they open up the door, how to close it, how to put back what they let out and to close it properly. Then yeah, okay, then yeah, okay. But if you don't bother, and don't try
Yeah.
it for the first time, because you don't know what you let out. And whatever you let out, you have to put it back
Yeah.
and close the door.
Well, they had it as a kids' game.
That's what Richard was made for. So I don't know how. I still don't know. I've been hearing a mixture of things. But then there's obviously a lot of people who use the Ouija board, and this is worldwide, has dealt with something named Zozo.
Mm,
Oh, Zizzo, the demon.
Yeah, however you say
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah. That's
the Ouija board one. Some people say he doesn't exist and made up. A lot of people are just like, he's. A lot of people say that's what the But what he said his name is, a lot of people has had experience with him.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I said, we never got we never did seances either.
No.
And we say we get enough stuff just sticking to our norm. You know, we don't need to do anything like that.
The only
Cause
thing
we,
that I do in my house is I call, if a person who has relatives or family member has died, we do it this way, and or on FaceTime, and I call the spirit out who's passed away, and we do a session with I with that spirit talking to me, and I turn around and I tell the client what they want, what certain messages, and say final goodbye and a closure, so they can live on and the spirits can be at peace. It's something like that too that I do. That's the only thing that I do in my house. I don't have any haunted items. I refuse to have any haunted items in my house. Um, I don't want anything to get interrupt my sessions, and I don't want any dead spirits wandering around in my house either. So that's why I don't
We've
have any.
also talked to people who, without going into any details, have haunted items in their house. They know it's haunted, that's why they wanted the item, but they're into the paranormal, so they assume they can handle a haunted item. But it turns
Yeah,
out, I mean, if it's not a friendly spirit, and they just don't know what to do with it.
yeah,
Not everyone should have haunted items. Just because you're
yeah,
into the paranormal does
yeah,
not mean you're ready for a haunted item, especially one that's not as friendly. You
yeah.
don't know.
And you can't, if you can't handle it, don't have one.
If you can't handle
That's
it, please pass it on.
yeah.
yeah, we investigate a lot of places, and us places more negative than others. We did a jail one time that was
Hmm.
built back in 1890 or something like that.
Hmm.
There's some negative spirits in there, but except most places we went were pleasant. So we got lucky.
Depends on how lucky you want to get. That's right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
And
We
what you
look at,
bump
we look at,
into, be
yeah,
careful what you bump into, right?
yeah. I had a few mean ones already. Called me
Mm.
an MNFer. That was nice.
Oh, I get that quite often. I get that
Yeah.
quite often. Like
Well,
leaving.
I also have female say she loves me. So
Hmm.
there's that. Something like that. Because I'm talking about called an SOB and an
Oh
MNFer and
yeah. Oh yeah. I
I
get
got
that too.
a bastard. And
Yeah. And
I'm most nice. I never have problems with people. Uh,
yeah, I've been told that too. Get out of here. Like blank off. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been told so many times. I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I heard that before. Yeah, you're not gonna make me leave, and like, I'm not gonna do that. Or go ahead and blank or off yourself. I said, no, I'm not gonna off myself. I'm gonna stay alive, and if you don't like it, that's too bad. I've heard all that before, so yeah, not doing that. Sorry. It's just something you have to learn to put up with when you're in this field. And on to the next subject.
yeah, over the years you still go into what they expect. I guess those locations. Because we did some locations 3 or 4 times the same locations,
Hmm.
and each time it's different. One
Oh
time we
yeah.
go thinking the next time we got a lot of stuff, and
Hmm.
uh, uh,
It's important to figure out what you have in there, how do you deal with it, and what you're gonna do, and
I
what
Right.
their
don't
intentions
recommend
are too.
buying haunted items online either. Just
No,
because, as someone said, more than likely, a lot they say a lot of even mediums have said that people have they'll have their eye on certain people who sell haunted dolls, and they're just like, it's not haunted. Someone literally
yeah,
just spent $300-400 on a story. But if you
yeah,
want to spend $300-400 on a story, go ahead. Then that's because that's all you're doing.
yeah. And
Right.
be careful what you buy. You might get more than you bargained for, right, Amanda?
Hmm.
It's just not safe to play around with things that, especially if you don't know how to handle it, and you don't know what's in store for you, and you don't know what it's going to do to you if you don't bind it, and make sure you create boundaries. That's all I'm trying to say. Create boundaries. Whatever you do, you have to create boundaries. Even if you go out, you create your own boundary. You make sure they don't enter your space, and you never say, well, come to my body and use my energy. Never do that. Like,
Mm.
that's a no-no.
We, yeah. That's just it. That's just inviting trouble doing that.
Oh, dang.
let
Yeah.
me be. Let me be your vessel.
No,
No, sorry, not gonna do that.
Oh God, yeah.
you wonder why you're possessed.
Jeez. And then you come to medium and say, help me, I got this attached to me. I go, what'd you do? He goes, no. I'm like,
I,
they don't want
I
to tell you.
More likely, they're not going to be honest about it, though. You've
No,
experienced that, Irene, where they're not honest with you. They're like,
no.
I don't know. I just woke up and there it is.
Oh, this happened to me. And they said, yeah, and you have to make sure your clients come clean with you, especially if you have a haunted house. Like, what did you do? Um, where did you go? Um, what did you say? You have this whole list you have to do. Say, I didn't do anything. Baloney, you played with a Ouija board, didn't you? They said, no. I said, yes, you did. Really don't come clean. If they don't come clean, I said, bye. You know, see somebody else because I'm not dealing with people who don't come clean with what they have and what they did. It's just not cool.
right. Yeah, so we never do that kind of stuff, and we got better results for it. So,
Mm, it's true. Do you deal with a lot of people in the country or around the country?
at the freedom groups that I have on my shows,
Mm-hmm.
from California, from Florida, from Virginia, I have all over probably almost every state so far having on, because I love to interview teams because a lot of times if they have EVPs or if they have videos or if they have like photos, I can show them on the show. And I can play the piece and stuff. It makes a more interesting show. And
Mm-hmm.
then we could sit down there out there and I've been doing this podcast for almost 4 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm coming up on my 100th episode. I took a
Mm-hmm.
couple months off though, so but
Mm.
I enjoy doing it. And it keeps me out of trouble. So,
I like being in trouble.
well, yeah, it's so comfortable. Or it can't be, you know. But
Life is boring without being in trouble. I'll tell you
alright,
that
Yeah.
much. I'm always
yeah.
into trouble. I'm always doing something. Whoops, shouldn't have done
According
that.
to
Oh
Facebook,
well.
we're always in trouble, though.
What?
I
Not
don't think
you.
my dream job would have to be the people who ever decide to put people in Facebook jail, just because I feel like they're just going randomly selecting people and putting them in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Because Irene's been in jail randomly and she doesn't even know why. This podcast has been in jail randomly,
Mm-hmm.
and one time it said we you mentioned the word Sasquatch and we found it offensive, and I'm like, what? We cannot be the only one out there who mentioned Sasquatch.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's just it said we just found it offensive, and because it's a podcast, they don't give you the choice to appeal it because they're like, we don't want to listen to hear what the
And they don't tell
context
you.
was.
They don't tell you why you're in jail or what they
But
found
one time it did,
offensive.
and it said because the word Sasquatch for
Oh
Paranormal Japan, and I'm
wow.
like, okay, how many podcasts are out there about Bigfoot? I am sure they have mentioned him. Okay, I don't know
Yeah.
why it's offensive. Who decided it was offensive?
Yeah.
That's why it's my dream job to be that person who decides who's in Facebook jail, just because they randomly just throw people in jail.
Oh yeah.
And I know a
Imagine
lot of people
still.
out there feel that way with like I was put in jail and I don't feel like I should have been. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I just feel like they're randomly putting people in jail
They,
to put people in jail.
they did that from my YouTube already a year back. I'm like, what
Mm-hmm.
deal? So I wrote back and said, well, um, I know that it might have been I have a music that I made for the show,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been doing like last 8 years. So I have my own music albums, and
Mm-hmm.
so that the intro I used for this I actually made in software,
Mm-hmm.
and so it comes up and says you stole this from Mindless Obsessions.
Oh
That's my
yeah.
group. I know I did. I wrote that. I did that. You know,
And I
no,
go,
like
yeah, that's me. I can't run different things.
yeah.
That's me.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And if you have music that you made for a show, they and it's your own music and it's your own track, they'll say, "Oh, you stole it from somebody else, so we're gonna cut that out."
yeah. Well, they were claiming my soul from myself.
Mhm. Dang.
Yeah. So I fought on that over and over again, and they finally stopped harassing me.
Ugh. Oh, they're still harassing me even to this day. I'm in jail for stealing for sharing recipes, right? And they said they found that very offensive for doing that. I said,
That's what I'm
"What?"
saying. That's why it's my dream job. Just randomly put people in jail for absolutely
Yeah.
no reason.
Yeah. There are people out there like that. It's a shame. Facebook's gone, but you know they've failed so far since the start. I mean, our things so intrusive now, and it's just crazy.
I
And I
need to
think people
quit
are
3
starting to look
times.
for other platforms to go on that's not Facebook for that reason.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I
Because
started back in the mid '80s doing this shit. You're a paranormal investigator? What are you crazy? No, not really. So,
it must be people not to the paranormal that are putting us all in Facebook jail for mentioning the paranormal. Because
Hmm.
they're like, this is offensive. And we're like, there is a lot of us talking about things spooky. Don't act like it no one is.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like we find it offensive because you're offended, right?
yeah,
Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right.
No, no, it doesn't mean that at all.
wow.
And it's just crazy. Like I need to quit 3 times. I need to quit this. I'm not gonna do this anymore. Like yeah, I thought about so many times, and then you get hacked, right? And then you're going, what? Like nah.
Yeah. So, thought we get the satisfaction. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Crazy. This whole world's going to shit.
That is, yeah.
It truly is, and you wonder why people don't want to deal with other people. And you say, yeah, I understand that now because I feel the same way sometimes, and I just not gonna do
I,
it.
I told wife we gotta win the freaking lottery so we can move out of this country.
The problem, there's also the issue of how much drama is in a paranormal field right now. I know
Oh,
there's not anyone out there into that's in the paranormal community that won't agree with it. They either heard a lot of the drama going on, or they're somehow dragged into the drama going on, even if they have nothing to do with it. But it might be because, oh, you're still showing up as Facebook friends with this person, and they have issues with this person, and I'm like, I don't have that same issues with that person. I'm not going to unfriend people for having issues with other people. I'd have
yeah,
to unfriend everyone.
yeah, it's
And
true.
that's even what I've said when they were like, oh, well, this person has issues with this person, and you're still friends on Facebook. So somehow we're
Hmm.
dragged into the drama, even though we didn't do anything. And I'm like, well, that person has not done anything to me yet. So I'm not saying I'm taking anyone's side. I'm not saying I do believe you, I don't believe you. I'm just saying my relationship with that person is different. So until they do
Hmm.
something, I'm not going to be cutting everyone out. Because, like I said, you'd be deleting everyone off of Facebook if that was the case.
And then there are some people that you should delete that you do delete because you don't want to have anything to do with that person either. It's just like, okay, no more
Yeah.
politics in this. Like, like I'm done. Like, whatever. Like, and
Yeah.
the one
That's
thing about I like about living here, and Amanda does too, is that we don't worry about what's going on because yeah, we're in a different area. It's like a different
Like, we're in
world.
Japan. We're not physically in the UK to be doing the things with the UK people. We're not back in America to be with those people physically doing stuff. And like, you can't blame us for something that happened at a location. We can't even go to that location
Yeah, so yeah, don't
until
put
they
us in the
invent
middle of it. Don't make us choose. Don't put us in the middle of it because we don't want to be in the
That's what
middle
we
of it.
say. We're like, we're not there physically. Like, well, you're part of the community, and I'm like, that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with their problems or their issues or their dramas. So yeah, just leave us out of it, please. And we have our own thing that we do here, and just mind our privacy. And yeah, just don't put us in the middle of it, and don't make us a part of it because we don't want to be a part of it.
right.
Exactly right.
We still get dragged in. It's one of those things we've joked around before. We're just like people are also offended we're not taking sides on anything because we're just like we're not there. We're hearing everyone telling different stories, so we're just like we're gonna stay out of it. We're not taking
Yeah,
anyone's side. We're not gonna believe anyone over the other. We're not saying anyone's a liar. We're just saying we don't want to be a part of it because we have different relationships with both sides of the drama, but they want to drag us in because they're like offended. How dare you mind your own business in Japan?
yeah.
How dare
Because
you be just minding
we
your own
choose
business
not
over
to.
there? That's
Over
Choose
there.
what
not
we're
to.
doing. We're like,
Okay.
we're just minding our business until they do something to us. We're not in it.
No,
All
we
right.
don't want to be a part of it. We don't want any of us dragging us into it, and we just mind our own business and keep our nose clean, and that's it. You don't like it, that's too
Okay.
bad.
You have to share about opinions.
Mm, yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear. Gotta cleanse my house. Gotta get rid of those guys.
Oh boy. Oh, you guys are so much fun. Have fun. Yeah,
It's,
had a blast.
It is always a good time on Spooky Japan.
yeah, we're just a little bit different.
Yeah,
And
Uh,
that's
our
okay though.
no, well,
yeah,
oh, I'm a lot different. So
yeah.
I hear it all the time.
And we go sideways. Our conversation goes sideways. We just
Uh,
yeah, okay.
yeah, it's
Or
just
when we
like
write
Whatever.
descriptions of shows because it's like, what do you talk about? Oh man, a lot.
a little bit of this, a little about that, a little bit of
Yeah,
this,
and
a
I'm
little of
like,
that.
I can't list everything. There's so much.
We
Yeah,
don't even talk about. anything. We'll talk about almost anything and everything. And yeah, we can spend an hour talking about anything and everything and whatever that goes on it, right? And we don't
Right.
worry about it. We don't worry. We don't worry. And that's the best thing about it is you don't have anything that is that's preempted. Um, we never know what we're going to talk about. We never know what our guests are going to say. So we go with the flow.
How often do you guys have your podcast?
It
Huh?
varies at least a couple times a week, usually, unless we decide to take some time off. But usually at least a couple a week. We don't have a set schedule due to the
No.
fact is we're in Japan and we just realized that we tried doing that with a network, but unfortunately it just became so inconvenient for everyone
Mm,
when we're trying to schedule. So we're like, we'll just play it by ear with our availability, their availability, so this way it's not exact day and time. We just been It's been more successful in being able to get guests on that way for
mm-hmm.
us
Hmm.
because obviously UK is gonna be different from the UK for them would have to be morning until noon because they're like 8 hours behind us. So we don't want to do anything too early for them, too late for
Mm,
us. People in the United States, it's usually going to be evenings for them, which is mornings for us. Because at
mm-hmm.
least with the Eastern Standard Time, we are currently 13 hours ahead of them
Mm-hmm.
until November when they have the fall back or whatever it is, the daylight savings time. Then it'll be 14 hours because we don't have
Mm-hmm.
daylight savings time. We don't do that, which I never liked daylight saving times because it always messes you up. That
Yeah, it
hour
screws up
throws you
your
off.
inner clock.
They thought about getting rid of it, but they never did.
Yeah.
Some states have started to do away with that, which is good because it made sense back in the day, but nowadays there's no real
Yeah,
purpose for it.
I think it had a lot to do with farming and crops and stuff. I think that for the reasons. And
Mm,
Yeah,
uh,
but it's now obviously that's not the case anymore, especially with
right,
modern technology. We don't really have a
right,
need for it.
right. Wow.
um.
So, you guys want to wrap it up, and I could probably get you guys back on again next year if you want.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm booked up through December right now.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll probably pick up back in mid mid January. So probably.
Okay. Ooh, right
Yeah,
after New Year's.
yeah,
Oh, we can
yeah.
talk about Japanese New Year's traditions then
Yeah.
There you
in
go.
January.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, please don't remind me. I'm gonna be cooking for 3 days again. Oh God. Oh.
I
I haven't even
think
got over Halloween yet.
I'm gonna have a Halloween show coming up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear a mask and stuff. So
Oh,
try to
okay.
do
That'd be
some
cool.
stuff. Yeah. So I think Irene ready to go back to bed.
She's gotta go grocery shopping, then she'll probably take
Yeah.
a snooze, is what she said.
Oh, I have to go grocery shopping.
She does it on the 20th each month.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Guess that's 20th for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still 19th for me.
Mm.
Oh well. That's funny how things are.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Again, it's my pleasure having you girls on tonight.
No, it
And
was fun.
It was great. I
yeah,
enjoyed myself.
I had a blast. So, like I said, I'll definitely get back on again. So,
Okay.
everybody, go check out their Facebook and their YouTube, and we have do you have TikTok, that kind of stuff too.
No, I thought about making one though.
Yeah.
Mm,
I am
okay.
probably gonna get back into it because I do tell urban legends on. If you look up on TikTok, it's called Bella's Spooky Tales.
Hmm.
That's that's my TikTok where I go over urban legends on there. So
Mm-hmm.
I started off with my TikTok before we started doing the podcast. So I'll probably get back into doing that as well soon too.
All right. Yeah, this podcast will be available on Spotify too. So if you want to
Yeah,
check it out.
Spotify, iHeartRadio,
I have Prime, Amazon
Amazon
Prime.
Podcasts.
Yeah, I have all of this set up. Yeah, a lot of fun. There are a bunch of those too. Apple.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Podcast.
I have
Anyone who listens
Pandora.
to Apple Podcast, I don't have it on subscribers because that doesn't make sense.
I
No.
think I have Odyssey, Pandora. Yeah, so. Alright. Well, till next time, girls.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.